Hello students, this will be the second video of chapter 3. Okay, so physics 10 chapter number 3 machines. So this will be our video number 2. So in video 1, in the first video, that is we have given the definition of machine, what is actually the machine is, and how many kinds of machine are there, simple machine, and what are the function of machines. Okay, so today we will discuss about the general terms used in the study of machines. So while studying the machines, we need to know some terms. Okay, so if you see the fan, okay, so if you put the fan in the ceiling, it will not work. Okay, it will not work, it will not rotate on its own. That means we need to apply, we need to give energy. Okay, that energy is the electrical energy. So if we supply electrical energy to that fan, then only the fan will rotate and provide us the wind. Okay, so that means the machine do not work on itself. That means it would need some work, or we need to apply, or we need to give some energy to it, and the energy we supplied to that one, to the machine, will be converted into useful work. Okay, so some energy must be given. That energy which we have supplied to the machine to do work by that machine is known as our input. Okay, and output is something that in the previous chapter number 2 we have solved some questions like efficiency. Okay, so you can see that the efficiency of the motor or your electrical pump was 60% or 80%. That means the energy we have supplied 100%, that machine does not work 100%, or that does not provide us the output 100%. Some amount of heat is, or some amount of energy is lost. Okay, so that's why only 60% is useful work. That is our useful output. Okay, and there will be one actual output. Okay, so these are the terms which we need to know. So first term is our input. Okay, so if we see the input, what is input? It is the energy supplied to the machine, or in physics what we say, it is work done on the machine. Okay, so what is input? Input is the work done on the machine, or simply we can say, or energy supplied to the machine. Supplied to the machine. Here is called our input. I think clear? So if an effort E, suppose we have given an energy E, and that energy, while giving that energy, there is some displacement D in its own direction, then our input, we have one formula. What is input? Input is effort, EFFORT, effort into displacement. Okay, so that means effort is E into displacement. Let us define it by D. Okay, so this is the first definition, and second one is our output. So we have given the energy to the machine. Now that energy will be converted to do the useful work. So under the output, okay, in output we have two kinds of output. That is our actual output and our useful output. Okay, so we have to know the both one. So actual output. So if you see the definition, what is actual output? The total work done by the machine. Okay, this is the total work done by the machine. It's called our actual output. Okay, so we have one formula, that is actual output equals to L into D. So what is L? So let us write what is L here. So L is our length, or not. Okay, it is, we can say it is total load. Okay, so total load or load lifted by the machine and d is the displacement through a distance. And what is d? D is the displaced through a distance. So we have got another formula. Okay, so similarly we have another term, that is our useful output. Useful output. So what will be useful output? So the useful work, okay, not the total work, the useful work. Out of the total, how much work it is doing. Okay, so it is the, we can say, the useful work done, useful work done by the machine is called useful output. Clear? Similarly, we will use one formula here, useful output. So useful output is also is equals to L into D. So what is small l? Our small l will be, it is the useful load. Okay, not the total load. We have used in the previous, that is in actual output, L was the total load, and here we have denoted small s to be our useful load. Okay, useful load displaced through a distance d, and d is the distance. Okay, it is the displaced through a distance, or we can say d, what is the d is the distance. So we have got another formula. Clear? So in page number 33 you can see one example, that is, what is the question in page number 33? Page 33 example, you can read that example. So if a machine is able to lift a load of 40 Newton, okay, so load is given such that the resistance due to friction and movable parts of the machine is 10 Newton, and then the total load lifted will be 10 Newton plus 40 Newton, this is our 50 Newton. That means the total load a machine can carry is 50 Newton, but it can lift only 40 Newton, and rest are due to the friction. Okay, so if the displacement caused through is 1 meter, then actual output will be your, what is actual output? It is the total load. So total load is 50 Newton, 50 into 1, that is 50 joule, and useful output, so it can carry a load up to 40 Newtons. So that will be our useful output will be 40 Newton into 1, that is 40 joule. Clear? So one note is given, in some numerical problem or general description only term output is used. It means useful output, not actual output. Okay, so whenever you solve some problem and only output is given, so you need to know that term, that output is mean useful output, not the actual output. Okay, it is useful output. Clear? Okay, so next we have, our next topic is principle of a machine. Principle of a machine. So under which principle it works? So according to the law of conservation of energy, what we know, that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. So this law, we can use this law to describe the principle of machine. Okay, the above law implies that the work done on the machine, that is the amount of energy we have supplied to the machine, will be equal to the work done by the machine. Okay, that will be exactly equal to the energy which we have supplied to the machine. That much amount of energy must be done by the machine. So it further implies that if no machine will be able to do more work than work done on it, that means if you have applied a work done of 50 joule, okay, so it cannot do more work than 50. Okay, so why there is some efficiency, useful work, because due to the your friction, okay, due to the friction, as machine parts are not we can say perfect, or their parts are, some parts are heavy, and due to the friction they lose energy, and that energy we cannot count that are the dissipation of energy. We have already discussed dissipation of energy. What was dissipation of energy? This was the your non-useful work. Okay, useless energy, because that goes to the air, we can say, that cannot be used, that energy cannot be used to do some work. So using the principle of machine, we got one formula, that is work done. Remember, input, in input what I have said, work done on the machine, and there is other term called work done by the machine. The energy supplied to the machine will be your work done on the machine, and the total work done by the machine will be the energy given by the, or it is the output, we can say. Okay, so by the principle of a machine, we can say that work done on the machine, okay, work done on the machine will be equals to work done by the machine. Okay, so this is, that means we can say that is input will be equals to output. So this is called our principle of machine. So in one mark question, you can question may be asked that write the principle of machine. So that means if you get to write that work done on the machine is equal to the work done by the machine, or total energy supplied to the machine will be equal to total energy given by the machine, or input equal to output. Clear? Okay, so we have read input, we have discussed output. Now our third part, our third topic is our ideal machine or perfect machine. Ideal machine or perfect machine. Okay, so a machine whose parts are weightless and frictionless. Okay, machine whose parts are weightless, there is no weight, and they do not have any friction in between them, such that whatever energy is spent on it, same is the energy produced. So that means if you are supplying a energy of 100 joule, the machine is giving an output of 100 joule. That type of machine, that means a 100% efficiency machine. Okay, 100% efficiency, the energy supplied by the amount of energy we supply to the machine, that amount of energy is again given back by the machine. So that type of machine are known as ideal machine, or a machine which has 100% efficiency is known as ideal machine. So you write this from the book. Okay, so write the definition from the book. So you will get this in page number 33. Okay, very easy. And in general, okay, so can we find such type of machine, ideal machine or perfect machine, whose parts are weightless and do not have any friction, or the machine which give 100% efficiency? The answer is no. It is not possible to have any ideal machine or a perfect machine, because if it have parts, that parts will have some weight. Okay, so we cannot have anything which do not have any weight, because every particle have some mass. Okay, okay, fine. So our next topic is fourth one, that is our mechanical advantage. Mechanical advantage, or MA. So what is actually mechanical advantage? It literally means your advantage given by the machine. Okay, the advantages which are given by the machine will be known as mechanical advantage. So such that our machine, it can carry a huge load. Okay, it can carry huge load, then it can apply more force. Okay, so if a machine lifts a comparatively large load or compared to effort applied, then it has a positive mechanical advantage. That means if we apply a small force, and applying a small force, the machine can lift a huge load. By applying a small force, if a machine can lift a huge load, then that type is called positive mechanical advantage. Okay, clear? Okay, fine. So on this basis, we can classify the mechanical advantage into two categories or two classes, that is ideal mechanical advantage and actual mechanical advantage. Okay, so mechanical advantage, I think you can write it from the book. Okay, you can write it from the book. So we will discuss the two types. So it have two types. So what are our two types? So its two types are our ideal mechanical advantage and actual ideal mechanical advantage and actual mechanical advantage. Okay, so if we see the first one, ideal mechanical advantage. So what is ideal mechanical advantage? The ratio between load moved or resistance overcome to the effort applied. Okay, it will be the ratio. In the numerator we have to write the total load moved, and in the denominator we have to write the effort applied or the force applied. Okay, so what is it? The ratio of, or the ratio between total load moved, or you can say resistance overcome to the effort applied is called ideal mechanical advantage. Okay, so what will be its formula? So it have also formula. Okay, so it is the ratio. What is it? It is the ratio between the total load moved to the effort applied. So if you see the formula, so IMA, so ideal mechanical advantage, we can write in short IMA. So what is it? The ratio between total load moved. So we will denote the total load moved by L, capital L, and we have also denoted small l. What is small l? It is the actual load. So total L divided by effort applied. So effort applied will be E. Okay, and where our total load, this load will be our actual load plus the load due to the friction. Okay, so what is L? So L is our, so let us write in the next slide. So we have got IMA equals to L by E, and where L equals to L plus X. So now if we define what is L, L is the total load moved. And what is total load moved? It is small l plus x. And what is small l plus x? So our small x is the useful load. Okay, small l is the useful load moved, and your x will be the load due to friction. Okay, load due to friction. Clear? And what is E? It is the our, we can say, total effort applied. Clear? Fine. So what is E? E is the our effort applied. EFFORT, effort applied. Clear? So second one is our actual mechanical effort. IMA, we can say AMA also. Okay, actual mechanical advantage. So what is it? It is the ratio between you can say useful, it is the ratio between useful load moved to the effort applied. So what will be the formula? AMA, this will be our small l. Small l is the useful load divided by the total effort applied, that is L by X. So this is the difference only. I think it's clear. Okay, so next we will move to the new topic, that is topic number E. Next definition we can say E. It is our velocity ratio. So what is velocity ratio? It is the ratio of the velocity at which effort is applied. Okay, so what is it? It is the ratio at which the velocity at which effort is applied. Okay, so on a machine to the velocity at a which load moves. That means, so you just write the definition from the book. Okay, so write the definition from book, you will get the answer. So you will get it in page number 33. What is velocity ratio? Velocity ratio, it is the ratio, again you will get numerator by denominator, in which the numerator it is, we can say, the velocity at which effort is applied on a machine to the velocity at which load moves. Okay, the velocity at which the effort is applied to the machine, and in the denominator you have to write the velocity at which the load moves. So that means if we denote our d, what is d? If we denote a d is the displacement. If we denote displacement caused by an effort in time t. Okay, so d, what is capital D? It is the displacement caused by an effort in time t, such that, and we denote small d, it is the displacement caused by the load. Okay, displacement caused by the load in the same time. Okay, in the, we can say, time t. So capital D is the displacement caused by an effort and small d is the displacement caused by the load. Okay, then we can say that velocity of the effort. What will be the velocity of the effort? So velocity of the effort will be d by t. Why? What is the formula for velocity? It is the displacement by time. So due to the effort, the displacement is capital D and time is small t. So velocity of the effort will be capital D by capital T, and velocity of the load, this will be again displacement by time. So displacement caused by the velocity is our small d. So this will be small d and time was same. Okay, so what is, therefore we can find the velocity ratio. Velocity ratio. So what was velocity ratio? We can say VR in short. It is the velocity of an effort divided by the velocity of load. Velocity of effort divided by velocity of load. So how we can write? I have used some short form. Okay, so you, whenever you write the notes, you write in the complete way. Okay, so just for understanding I am writing this. So velocity of an effort is our d by t, and divided by velocity of load is small d by small t. So time cancel out, so answer is our d by d. So this is called our velocity ratio, or you can define velocity ratio as the ratio of the displacement of the effort to the displacement of the load in the same interval of time. So this will again give you the velocity ratio. Clear? I think it is clear. Okay, so as video is becoming too long, so I will make another video so to cover all the related definitions related to machine, and after that we will move to lever. Okay, so till then you complete all this definition, you understand all the definition, and if you find any difficulty, then please contact me. Okay, thank you.